Guys, so this is a video on a request. This is a video on a request that I got on what if Deku was a vampire slash had a twin brother. Now, this guy gave me, a backstory, like how my previous what if Deku went to a vampire slash werewolf school. Now, I am going to be continuing that series with part 4 later today. But, yeah, so basically this is part 1 to a new what if that I actually really like the concept of. So guys, I'm going to give you the name of, the creator and the person that, well, not really creator, the person that gave me this idea. Now guys, you already know, if you give me a request or idea, I'm obviously going to shout you out. So, Lana Snow, requested this video. Now this is a bunch of stuff she gave me. I read through all of this, and if you guys want to know Deku's powers, they're right there. And yeah, guys. So basically, Deku's gonna be really overpowered, but I'm not gonna like lower power Deku. Deku's still gonna be overpowered. I'm just gonna give Deku a little bit of time to control his powers. So basically, I read through the whole entire story she gave me, or he gave me, don't know. So so dude, let me go on his. Let's see if he has a YouTube page. Oh snap, he does. There's 2 videos, but yeah. So yeah, guys, he gave me a whole entire story, and let's get back into what if. Yeah, basically Deku will have all those powers, and this world, I'm gonna explain the world if you don't want to read through, that story I just showed you. The world takes place in basically kind of the same world that took place as what if Deku was in a vampire slash werewolf school, but basically that what if didn't allow quirks. But this what if is pretty much a merge of supernatural beings plus people with quirks as well. Now basically, if you're quirkless, you either have supernatural powers or you're supernatural. So quirkless people don't exist. Either you're born supernatural or you're just born, a dormant warlock or a dormant witch. So basically, the closest thing you get to quirkless in this universe is if you're born a witch that isn't able to use magic. So basically, the only thing a witches can do without magic is not get compelled by vampires, and also they're not able to be turned by a werewolf. So basically, you know yeah. So basically, I'm gonna be listing the type of levels and werewolves. Now, vampires in this universe, they're going to be going through the same powers as the vampires in Vampire Diaries. So they're going to have, they're not going to be able to shapeshift or anything like that. But they're going to have all the powers of an average, vampire in Vampire Diaries. Now, werewolves are going to actually be about kind of like the Orders werewolves. And if you don't know the Orders werewolves, go on Order. It's a Netflix show. It's pumping, bro. The werewolf CGI is awesome. They don't really show that much of it, but when you see it, it's to die for, bro. It's like really good. But yeah. So basically, yeah, guys. So Deku is going to be a demon hybrid. Now, a demon hybrid, I guess it's a demon that can use a lot of magic. Now, I thought a demon hybrid was like a demon that was a hybrid of a werewolf and a vampire, but that might not be the case. Correct me in the comments, guys. But yeah, so basically, Deku is going to have all the abilities that he had, all the abilities that I showed you guys. He's gonna have telekinesis, all sorts of magic, all that other stuff. So Deku, his heritage is actually going to be a lot more powerful. Now Deku's father is actually going to be very powerful wizard, like a really powerful wizard. Deku's mother is actually going to be a very powerful demon, demon hybrid, or something like that. So basically, Deku's mother, had a lot of, magic power. The only magic that Deku's mother could really use was teleportation magic and summoning magic. Now, Deku's father can use all sorts of magic because he was the top wizard. Now, heroes still do exist in this universe, like rankings, but people are ranked on, how strong and how much people they saved during the years of them being heroes. So say if you start off being a hero and you're like the number 100th hero and you like save thousands of people, you might get boosted up to number 5 or 8 or 7 or 9, something like that. So basically, um, Deku will be incredibly strong. Now Deku will naturally have the body that he has doing the 10-month art training with All Might. Deku will also have actually have black hair, dark pitch black hair. Deku will also have glowing green eyes all the time, like in this picture, neon glowing green eyes. Deku will also have a black devil tail, and Deku will also have horns that change every day for some reason. Deku and his father doesn't know. Deku and him and his mother doesn't know why his horns change every day, but it happens for some sort of reason. So basically, Deku's horns change every day, turning into goat horns, demon horns, all sorts of horns. So basically, Deku, one day, pretty much Deku's about, let's say, during this whole time, Deku's magic kicks in when he's about 5 years old. Now, for witches and supernatural beings, their abilities and their powers kick in when they're at least 6, 5, or maybe if they're late bloomers, 12 or 11. So basically, um, if you haven't got your supernatural powers by the time you get 13 or even 14, you automatically are labeled dormant. Like you have dormant genes that you can't use your supernatural, powers. So basically, yeah, Deku's powers kick in when he's about 6. About a year after Bakugo in this universe develops his werewolf gene. Now, Bakugo is actually going to be a werewolf in this universe. Deku's going to be a werewolf in this. Bakugo's going to be a werewolf in this. I don't know why I picked this video. I don't know why I picked this picture, but yeah, Bakugo's going to be a werewolf in this universe. So Bakugo developed his werewolf gene when he was about, 5 years old. So basically, his abilities, kicked in on a full moon a couple of days, before his quirk started, or his power started to appear. Now, basically, Bakugo started to, pretty much emerging his power. Now, guys, sorry, guys, quirkless people do still, quirkless people do exist, but they either, are dormant or they just can't activate their quirk. So, yeah, so basically, you know, Bakugo, basically, his werewolf gene is a lot strong because Deku's father was actually Silverback. If you don't know Silverback, he's basically like an ancient werewolf that was incredibly strong, like one of the most strongest werewolves. So basically, Deku's great 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 grandfather is actually going to be the Wolfman on his mother's side. So Deku has a long lineages, or sorry guys, I don't know how to pronounce that, a long family history of werewolves in his family, and also vampires too. But Bakugo didn't become a hybrid. He just became a werewolf. He got more werewolf gene. So Bakugo was actually 10 times angrier because he's a werewolf, and it was really bad for him because he wasn't really bad for him because he wasn't turned. Turned werewolves have a lot more harder time to control their anger and their forms. But born werewolves, control their, rage pretty fast in their younger ages. So that Bakugo has the average, the normal werewolf abilities like increased senses, increased speed, agility, supernatural healing, attractable claws, teeth, fangs, and also, glowing eyes. Bakugo's eyes glow red, and they also have Bakugo also has wolf ears, in his hair. And yeah, that's basically it. Bakugo also has a wolf tail, even without his transformation. Now on a full moon, Bakugo transforms into a wolf-like creature. Now basically, Bakugo can transform into some sort of teen wolf, hybrid in the daytime. So basically, you can transform into something like this, with attractable claws, teeth, and, glowing red eyes. But also with, blonde sideburns, and also, his, claws are as long as basically razors, like incredibly long. They're basically as long as box cutter razors. They're really sharp and they can cut through steel. So pretty much, yeah. On a full moon werewolf, um, pretty much this is what Bakugo's werewolf form looks like. This, but I'll give you another shot of it. So basically, yeah. So Bakugo has a blonde werewolf form. Now, basically, this werewolf form has, the average strength of a full-grown werewolf that can rip through cars and, flip over cars with ease, stuff like that. So basically, and Bakugo is incredibly strong in his, full moon form. So, guys, basically, um, now, well, Bakugo is going to be really strong. He's going to be really cocky because he doesn't really believe Deku. Now, Deku has shown Bakugo that his parents are wizards and, hybrid demon hybrids, pretty strong creatures. But Bakugo just thinks that he's better than Deku because he's a very strong werewolf. Now, basically, the werewolf weaknesses that Bakugo has are no werewolf weaknesses. And now he's not weak to silver, but yet again, what you call it, he's not weak to silver, but for Wolfsbane and also a cross can compel and push away werewolves. So yeah, so Deku will have some, will have a destiny. Now Deku is actually going to be you know destined for the apocalypse to, pretty much stuff like that. Basically, I'm going to get into that a little bit later, but for now, it's going to be really, conceptionist. It's going to be really, it's going to be hinted in until part 6. I'm going to really dive into it, but yeah. So basically, um, let's get back into Deku's story. Now, basically, Deku, goes to UA after, developing his, magic after, his 6th year of, being, non-dormant. So basically, Deku develops his magic slowly over time, and when Deku turns 7, his magic is completely, restored. Now, basically, Deku has all sorts of magic. Let me just list out his magic powers. Now, Deku has invisibility, immortal, portal magic, healing magic, warlock magic, electrical magic, summoning magic, immunity magic. Sorry, guys, I got distracted. Darkness magic, wingspan magic, wingspan 100 cm telekinesis. So I guess that's all his powers. So basically, Deku will be having all those abilities. Now, basically, Deku, goes to UA, and Deku, does become a little bit of a close friends with Bakugo, but him and Bakugo still have some sort of, rivalry or some sort of quarrel to, face, and they also just hate each other. Now, let's get into other families before we get into the UA and the whole entire growing up thing. Now, basically, let's get into Kirishima's heritage. Now, Kirishima is actually going to be a hellhound. You're probably wondering, what's a hellhound? If you don't know what a hellhound is, you're not a nerd. But yeah, basically, a hellhound is basically just a werewolf, but with demon powers, or something like that. So basically, hellhounds can be harbingers of death, or just helpers. But hellhounds are mainly focused to be made as the devil's best friend, like man's best friend. So basically, hellhounds have incredible strength and all sorts of other stuff. Now, guys, this is what Kirishima's wolf form or his hellhound form is gonna look like. Very demon-like, very disgusting. But yeah. So, guys, you can decide if that Kirishima's wolf form should have 3 heads, like that giant Hades wolf, or this. So yeah. So basically, his wolf form has claws that can pretty much cut through anything, even magic. And this wolf form can breathe fire, and his bites are basically the equivalent of the sun touching you. So it's pretty, it's pretty if you're bit by this thing, you're either gonna die or you're going to get burned alive. Well, that's basically the same, but yeah. So basically, yeah, so Kirishima doesn't have any, real control over his wolf form, but in his day form, in his normal night form, this is what Kirishima transforms into on a full moon. Now, this thing has a lot more power, but I'll get into that later. If you guys want more of, a clear back discussion on, Kirishima's Hellhound powers. And basically, Kirishima has all the normal powers of a Hellhound. Just look it up on Google. And pretty much, yeah. So let's get into his day or his normal form. Now, Kirishima, when he's mad, he can transform into a humanoid wolf creature that can sprout flames on the back of its body and shoot flames like pyrokinesis, controlling fire. Now, this is one of his forms in the day, but on a normal night, this is what Kirishima's wolf form looks like this, with glowing bright red eyes, and can pretty much burn anything with one touch or one scratch. And also, his bite is as strong and as dangerous as the full moon wolf form. Now, basically, hellhounds are incredibly strong, and they're actually known to be really dangerous. And half of the time, hellhounds can only really, have relationships with creatures that are kind of strong, like female werewolves or vampires or even, demigods. So demigods actually do exist in this universe because all supernatural beings exist, like minotaurs and gods and Greek gods, all that other stuff. So basically, you're probably wondering, if Greek gods exist, why does a cross work? Basically, in this whole entire world of supernatural beings is really complicated with, figures of people, but there's multiple gods in this universe. So yeah, guys. So basically, um, yeah, this is a little bit of a, a look through of, Kirishima's abilities. Now let's get into Todoroki's abilities. Todoroki is actually going to be a vampire. Now, basically, Todoroki, instead of the Endeavor family actually is a combination of quirks and, vampire powers. Now, basically, pretty much, um, Todoroki is pretty overpowered because what was it, the Endeavor family has a werewolf gene, but they also have a quirk gene as well, giving them normal vampire abilities, but also on top of all that, giving them, quirks as well. And basically, um, Todoroki still has his half and half quirk, but also has his vampire quirk as well, and his vampire powers as well. Sorry, guys. And Endeavor has vampire powers and also his hell flames, and pretty much what do I call it? Endeavor's wife, Eri, she is just a quirk. She's a quirk user. She isn't supernatural. So yeah. So that's pretty much a little drawback. Now Kirishima still has his whole. I mean Todoroki still has his whole entire thing with his dad and all that other stuff. So yeah. So guys, let's dive on into the whole entire thing with UA. Now, last day of school before the 7-month arc training. Now, Deku actually is going to be homeschooled because Deku's father is the number 1 hero, or the number 0 hero. Now, 0 is actually above number 1. Now Deku's father is actually stronger than All Might. All Might is still, a quirk user, all that other stuff. Now, basically, sorry guys, what was it? What was I trying to say? Um, what was I trying to say? Oh, Hulk's from, My Hero Academia. He's actually going to be a Griffin. Now, no, actually, he's gonna scratch that. He's gonna be an angel. So yeah, he's gonna be an angel. Now, angels basically just have powers to manipulate light, form light constructs like light weapons and spears, and also have wings. And basically, he's half angel, half quirk user. So basically, he's a quirk user, and also he's an angel. So that's why he can control his, wings all the same. But yeah, so basically, Deku. Let's get back into Deku. Sorry guys, if I'm getting off a track and not focusing on Deku too much. So very much Deku, you know, goes back, you know, goes to do his whole entire 10-month arc training, being homeschooled and all. Now, Bakugo is still keeps touch with Deku, but they don't, they're not best of friends because Bakugo still feels like he's, better than Deku. Now, Deku has that demon personality. Deku doesn't, give a, he doesn't give it to, like, Deku doesn't care, really. Doesn't really care what people think about him, and honestly, if somebody tries to fight him, he's going to kick their butt. Like, he's sure going to put him in a headlock and break their neck. Like, he ain't, Deku doesn't play. Deku honestly would kill somebody if it came to down to it, and he wouldn't show any remorse. Like, Deku can actually turn off his emotions. That's one of the abilities I'm gonna give Deku. Extra abilities I'm gonna give Deku. Deku and his mother can turn off their emotions. Now, Deku's mother she's old, so she doesn't really know how to turn off her emotions. So yeah, she's always in a constant flux of love and all that other stuff. So Deku's father, pretty much trains Deku into using his magic, and also his mother also trains Deku as well. Now, Deku is trained in magic and all other sorts of skills, and eventually Deku gets, a pretty good understanding of all his magic. Now, Deku masters his magic to a scale of 1 to 10. Deku masters his magic to about an 8 or a 9. Not fully, but yet again, enough to actually, get an upper hand on his mother and his father. Now, imagine what Deku can do, because Deku's father is actually the number 0 hero, meaning that he's the highest hero. Yeah, so basically, sorry guys, it's kind of, foggy in my room. So basically, yeah, so Deku is going to have all the abilities as he, his magic, and pretty much on a scale of 1 to 10, his magic skill is going to be about an 8 or a 9. So yeah, so basically Deku will have all the abilities, but Deku will also have his physical abilities. Deku has all these magic abilities, but Deku also has increased strength, like superhuman strength, not to a point of Superman or anything like that, but Deku does have, super soldier strength, like, superhuman strength. Kind of like how, Captain America's strength is. And he also has increased speed. Deku has vampire speed, and Deku also has, regeneration that powers with his, immortality. Now, Deku has, Deadpool regeneration, so he can, regenerate limbs and all the other stuff. So, yeah, so Deku, pretty much masters all of his magic, and, yeah, so basically, Deku's also going to have a couple of familiars. Now, Deku's familiars were at the end of the list I showed you earlier. So let's go down here. Now this is Deku's familiars. Now Deku's familiars are Raven, Water Dragon, oh sorry guys, get it here. Sorry, it was my sorry, it was my little sister. Yeah, so pretty much this is, well, it's more, okay. Hellhound, oh, I should have looked at that, really should have looked at that before it turned Kirishima into a Hellhound, like, but forget about it. Well, Kirishima's actually half Hellhound. That's why he has a human form, and he isn't a familiar. Now, normal Hellhounds are basically just giant wolves that have fire powers, kind of like how Kirishima has, but Kirishima still is half human, making him a a traditional hellhound. But not really, making him a hybrid hellhound. So, for the whole entire thing with, the familiar thing, hellhounds are, the hellhound Deku has is basically just a giant, super strong wolf that has pyrokinesis. That can, pretty much bite through anything by burning through it with his teeth. So, yeah, guys. I'm pretty sure that's what hellhound Deku has. So yeah, guys. So the Raven Deku just has a Raven, and I'm gonna say this Raven has, Deku has the ability to see through the Raven, to see what the Raven sees, making it a extra pair of eyes. Now, basically, for the whole entire Water Dragon, the Water Dragon. Let me show you what it looks like. So basically, Deku's Water Dragon looks like this. It's sort of like, a giant water serpent that Deku can control, but he can only summon doing when he's around water. So I may be, changing, because, part 3 is, the USJ attack, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be using this guy. Because I don't really know how much I'm going to be using this guy, but yeah. So yeah. Now, it was another twist that I wanted to put on this guy. Deku was actually going to have another form. Now, I'll get into that later, but yeah. So basically, Deku's gonna have another form, but I'll get into that on part 6. So yeah. So guys, yeah, so Deku goes to UA after the 10-month arc training, developing all of his abilities and getting all of his familiars checked in order. Now, pretty much the rest of Class 1A are going to presumably have quirks. Now guys, go in the comments please and explain who should have quirks and who should be supernatural. So yeah guys. So basically, guys, I'm going to put up, just go in the comments, guys, please, and, make a list or some sort of, comment down below and say who should be a quirk user and who should be supernatural. And, you could pick a character that, you want to be a certain supernatural being, or you want them to be a quirk user. So, yeah, the majority of comments down below is what I'm going to go off of. So, yeah. So, guys, basically, Deku goes to UA, getting that recommendation from his father, and going into UA with, Todoroki. Now, basically, the ship for this what if is either going to be female Todoroki, or is going to be somebody else from Class 1A. Now, if you guys aren't going to ship female Todoroki, I'm just going to keep Todoroki a, guy. So, yeah. So, basically, Deku goes to UA, walks into Class 1A, and pretty much not really taking, small talk. Now, Deku having his Raven and paying invisibility, you know, pretty much spell on him. And with this universe, Deku can actually talk to animals. That's why, Deku has a strong connection with his familiars, because he can talk to them. His familiars start talking to him, saying that it's a lot of cute girls in here, Deku, you're gonna make a move. Deku saying that not right now, and pretty much eventually, All Might steps in the class. I mean, Azawa steps in the class a couple minutes before Bakugo shows up. Bakugo shows up, seeing Deku there, pretty much scoffing and pretty much just looking away from Deku, sitting down a couple of feet where he was originally seen in canon. So basically, they get sent back. They get sent outside for quirk assessments, and they get told to use their quirks. Deku get told to throw the ball first, and Deku grabs the ball, chucking it out of the atmosphere. Now, pretty much Deku uses a little bit of teleportation magic, teleporting it for a quick second into the atmosphere. Because when Deku uses teleportation magic, anything that goes through that teleportation magic actually goes through a different dimension. And that dimension speeds up, friction, time, and speed. So basically, what the Raider picked up was an incredible amount of range. Pretty much almost pretty much the whole entire height, the whole entire width of the whole entire, Milky Way. So pretty much, Deku was incredibly strong. And while he wasn't really strong, he just, tricked the scanner. Now for the long jump, Deku aces it because he has superhuman agility. For the race, Deku aces it using, some, teleportation magic, teleporting him to the finish line. For the grip test strength, Deku gets a pretty good score and gets about second place. So in all total, Deku gets first place. Actually, Todoroki gets second place, and Bakugo gets third place. Kirishima gets fourth place, and all of above, and all lower get pretty much a random score. So yeah, so basically, yeah. So basically, everybody's sent back home, getting handed their syllabus, and getting told to go back home. Deku goes back home, walking, home, and just walking around. Deku hears some sort of noise behind him, and he looks behind himself, and he sees something he haven't seen in a long time. Deku sees some sort of, hunter. Now basically, now villains in this universe, sorry guys, villains in this universe are actually going to be, you know, supernaturals, but also some of them are going to be quirk users, but also some of them don't want, supernatural beings or, any creature to become heroes, so they just don't want heroes to exist in general. So that's why villains are villains in this universe. So basically, Deku looks behind himself and he sees some sort of big, buffy Minotaur that's a villain right behind him. Deku looks at the Minotaur, and the Minotaur goes for a huge blow towards Deku. Deku isn't fast enough to dodge it because he was caught off guard and gets punched into the concrete, making a crater. The Minotaur tries to grab Deku to drag him off, but Deku gets back up and lands on his feet, doing a backflip up into the air. Deku starts punching the Minotaur in the stomach left and right. Eventually, the Minotaur grabs a hold of Deku, but Deku grabs the Minotaur's horns and breaks them off, and stabbing the Minotaur in the chest with both of his horns. Deku sees the Minotaur falling into the ground, pretty much choking on his blood going into his, lungs. Pretty much, Deku grabs the Minotaur and drags him into the wood area where Yue is, and pretty much buries him and burning his body using some fire magic. So yeah, so Deku pretty much gets rid of the evidence pretty fast, not letting any fingerprints, around. So Deku gets out of there fast and burns his footprints in the sand that he's making, or the dirt that he's making. So yeah. So basically, Deku hasn't shown that he has any fire powers, so Deku's pretty much in the clear for now. Deku gets out of there, not letting a trace or anything trace back to him. So yeah. So Deku goes back home, pretty much goes on his phone, listening to some music, and eventually just, going to sleep and waking up the next day, going into class 1A again. So guys, I'm going to leave it off here. Part 2 will be coming whenever you guys want it to. Part 2 will mainly be, probably be coming next week or later this week. Or pretty much, now guys, for spring break, I'm actually going to be uploading a lot more what ifs. Now guys, you're probably wondering, my what ifs are a little bit slow, and that's reasonable. I actually upload what ifs a lot more faster than normal what ifers. So yeah, basically, for spring break or any type of school break, I'm going to be uploading videos a lot more frequently because some of the people that watch my videos are in school or either in high school or something like that. So yeah, so guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video and see you guys later. Deuces and bye. You guys have a blessed day.